Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. There are, of course, many rumours swirling around, all to do with the SNP. And of course, it is a truism that one should never believe any kind of political rumour until it's been officially denied. And holding that in mind, it now seems it's absolutely apparent that the SNP is about to go bankrupt. And how do we know? It's because Humza Yousaf has come out and denied it. And then if he feels that he must come out and make a comment on something and absolutely deny that it's about to happen, then you know it must be true. It's how they operate. It's how he operates. So we're going to have a look at this article. It looks like the forensic accounts are going to be brought in. There was speculation on whether they would or not. There's people threatening to resign if they weren't. So it looks like they are absolutely going to be brought in. But you've had Humza Yousaf himself had to come out and make a public announcement that the party is not going to go bankrupt or split. But we've got another video, so I'm going to presage this video by advertising my next video, which is going to have a look at something, another rumour, if you like, that has some legs, shall we say. There is another rumour doing the rounds. That relates directly to this, but this is a separate story in its own right. So we're going to have a look at this one, and then we're going to have a look at another rumour, but that's related to this. So do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss the next video. But we'll go into this one with him denying that the party's in deep trouble, even though we know it is, and even though you've probably just seen the previous video where you've got Nicola Sturgeon lying on camera saying that the finances are super and that nobody should look at them because it would be unhelpful. Yeah, unhelpful if the truth came out. Anyway, so we go in here, and this is just him denying it, and the auditors coming in. So forensic auditors poised for SNP review as Yousaf denies party bankruptcy. And as I say, you never believe anything until it's been officially denied. First Minister Humza Yousaf has denied the SNP faces bankruptcy and confirmed forensic auditors could be appointed to scrutinise party finances as part of a review into the inner workings of the party. I think perhaps while they've got the auditors in there, forensic auditors in there, it may well be worth getting them to actually audit the books properly in terms of getting it in for the Electoral Commission. Although they're running very quickly out of time. For the Scottish Parliament, it's the 7th of July. But for the Westminster group, they've got to have these books into the authorities by the 31st of May. So, 6 weeks away. So those auditors really do have their work cut out if they're going to get through, forensically auditing, forensically accounting these books, and then producing a set of accounts that they can present to Westminster's authorities. And that if they don't, then they're denied money, and that's £1 million a year that does not go into the SNP's coffers, and that would be the end. It's quite literally that close. They are 6 weeks away from an absolute termination. The party finishes in 6 weeks if they don't get those books in. That's assuming it actually manages to last those 6 weeks, which is doubtful. But anyway, Mr. Yousaf said the party's NEC agreed yesterday to hold a governance and transparency review with its initial findings to be reported in June. The review comes amid a long-running police investigation into the party's finances, which led to the arrest of former party chief executive Peter Murrell. The NEC meeting came amid a fractious mood among some members, with Bill Ramsey, convener of the SNP trade union group, claiming he would quit the ruling body if the party refused to bring in forensic auditors to investigate its accounts, with the call for scrutiny also made by former Minister Alex Neil. Both of them were senior. Well, one is senior, one was senior. These people are saying that they, as part of long-standing party members, do not trust the books, the people running the books. Oswald, for example, she is notoriously suspect. Nobody really trusts what she says and does. She's part of that little cabal at the top that run and held control over the books for far too long. Nobody there. She hasn't resigned from the NEC yet. There's a lot of skullduggery, let's just say, that's going on, and some of the even senior members now are saying it's not good enough. It needs to be changed. But there's no real desire to change from the top. I mean, they're making the words, but they're not doing the actions, you know. And then it's very easy to talk the talk, but unless you walk the walk, you ain't going to be seen as anything other as part of the problem. But questioned on the speculation the party could be bankrupt, Mr. Yousaf said it is solvent, and bankruptcy had not been discussed at the NEC. Again, not a denial. Is it bankrupt? Bankruptcy has not been discussed. That's not saying, no, it isn't bankrupt. That's saying, I'm not answering that question. He added, we're not close to bankruptcy. Again, that doesn't mean, if you're actually bankrupt, you're not close to bankruptcy, you're bankrupt. He said, this is something I've read in some media circles, but no, the party is solvent. But not far solvent, we know. And if they lose that £1 million a year from the short money from Westminster, they are done. But they are losing money left, right, and centre. And like I said, that'll be the next video we're going to have a look at, which is why I suggested ringing that subscribe button. So anyway, I don't want to keep pushing that point. Question on the review. He said, we will ensure we have external input, particularly around the issues of financial oversight. So that may well be forensic accountants. It has to be. That's the only way you're going to get to the answer of that. He said it may well be some other means and method. No. Forensic accountancy is the only way you're going to get to the bottom of these books. What's the other means and method? Little crystal ball, is it? Get Sturgeon's sister round, read the tarot cards, read your tea leaves, read your palm. A full report on the findings, which will be made public, is due before the party conference in the autumn. Oh, they're hopeful, aren't they? They think they're going to have a party conference in the autumn. I don't think so, son. I think you will be on the dole before then. Mr. Yousaf said the party is desperate to appoint auditors. He's certainly desperate. Last week it emerged he was unaware before becoming leader that the previous auditors resigned more than 6 months ago, he said. He added, I'm not concerned about what they might find. I'm concerned about the fact that, from my perspective, we could improve our governance and our transparency, and I'm concerned about the fact that in 6 months we haven't been able to find auditors. That's because no auditor, no reputable firm of accountants will touch you with a barge pole. Mr. Yousaf was speaking at a campaign event in Rutherglen and Hamilton, where the party could face a by-election, looking increasingly likely if Margaret Ferrier is going to, and I did say Ferrier, I have been calling her Ferrier because the only person I knew with that surname pronounces it Ferrier, but one of my good viewers did correct me on the pronunciation, so I thank you. You know who you are. Thank you. So Margaret Ferrier won the Rutherglen and Hamilton West seat for the SNP in 2019, but was later found to have damaged the reputation of the Commons and placed people at risk by taking part in the debate and travelling by train while suffering from COVID. Now, they wanted to give her a 9-day banning so that it wouldn't be the 10-day, which is the limit, which could force a by-election. But apparently, no, it's gone. It's a full 30 days. So, yeah. She does it. So it needs 10%, just in case you don't know, it needs 10% of the electorate in her constituency to request a recall election, and then it must be given. It must happen if 10% do. Well, of course, Labour are out canvassing their members. The Tories are out canvassing their members. The Lib Dems are out canvassing their members for this recall election. And it only takes like 10%, as I say, to do. And given that Labour had something like 34% of the vote the last time, and the Tories managed sort of quite a respectable number as well, I think the 10% mark, requesting the recall election will be a very easily achievable target. So I think it's going to be a by-election in Rutherglen. Now the thing is, will there still be an SNP to contest the seat? And that is looking increasingly unlikely. But anyway, Parliament is still to determine her punishment, but the Common Standards Committee has recommended that she gets a suspension for 30 days. Mr. Yousaf said he was hopeful of winning if a by-election is held. Well, there's no accounting for that. The man is obviously a lunatic. He has got, I think, less than 0 chance of winning. He says, I think it will be challenging by-election for us, but I'm not going to pretend otherwise in the context of Margaret's actions. Plus, also, last week has been difficult. The last 3 weeks has been difficult, mate. You've been there 3 weeks and nothing has gone right for you. He said, but we should also go in confident. We've got a good ground operation here. We know where a lot of our support is in the constituency. You think you know where your support is. I think you'll be very, very surprised at how little support you've got now. But Scottish Labour Deputy Leader Jackie Bailey said, voters won't forget Margaret Ferrier's reckless rule-breaking, no matter how many SNP camper vans are dispatched to Rutherglen. Nice little burn. Thank you very much, Jackie Bailey. As Humza Yousaf desperately scrambles to hold his crumbling party together, the Scottish Labour is offering a real change. The SNP is chaotic and divided. The people of Rutherglen and Hamilton West deserve better. The whole of Scotland deserves better. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, any party, they're all bloody useless, aren't they? I mean, you know, I think Labour offer the best chance, probably the biggest chance of winning that seat. And not SNP should always be the order of the day. Really, it doesn't matter who wins the seat. So, you know, I mean, not just in this by-election, but I mean generally across any elections, as long as it's not SNP. Because whatever your views on the Labour Party or on the Tory Party or on the Lib Dems or whatever, they are at least a professional organisation. They're not an organisation that is shrouded in secrecy or emerged through hatred or aligned. None of them aligned themselves to the certain party in Germany in the 30s, unlike the SNP. And so, you know, once you start showing their true colours and their true history, it does start alienating people, and one only has to look at their record in office anyway. And given that there's reports of how many people are leaving the SNP, I think his claim about knowing where his support is very, very hopeful on his part. Anyway, Yousaf was forced to admit that he was only told about the resignation of auditors Johnson Carmichael after he won the leadership election. But I still don't believe him. There's no way I believe him. I think he knew. He was so close to the previous regime, he undoubtedly knew. As news of Johnson Carmichael's resignation emerged, Mr. Yousaf admitted the situation was problematic. I think dire is the correct term there. He said that one of his major priorities was finding new auditors. The SNP's treasurer, again, he's talking about party politics. He should be talking about national politics. His priorities should be the cost of living crisis, the NHS, you know, social care, transport, the ferries. You know, they should be his priorities. Everything else should be secondary to them. The SNP's treasurer is now seeking another firm to audit the party's finances. By law, the party now has until July the 7th, as I mentioned, to present their accounts to the Electoral Commission or face possible sanctions. It's worse than that. They have until May the 31st, because if they don't get it into the Westminster authorities by May the 31st, they lose £1 million a year in what's called short money, which is money paid to political parties for the running of their party. Although I disagree with that in principle, because I don't see why people who don't vote for a party should be forced to pay out of their taxes for a party that they oppose. I think it's wrong, and I think any party should be able to fund itself. And if it can't fund itself and doesn't have the support, that kind of tells people that it's an unpopular party, and it's as simple as that. News of the departure of Johnson Carmichael came shortly after the SNP's former chief executive Peter Murrell went in there and blah blah blah. I'm not going to bother with that. That's just regurgitation of what we've said many times. So yeah, so the party, he is denying bankruptcy, but I don't believe him. I think the party is, if not actually bankrupt, is so close to bankruptcy it's likely to happen very, very soon. And he's saying that they've confirmed they're going to have to get, in his words, forensic accountants or some other means. I'm afraid forensic accountants is the only way. And if he doesn't do it, the party's finished. Anyway, to round off, come up. I mean, to be fair, I must admire the man's optimism. The fact that he thinks the SNP is still going to be here in the autumn to have a conference, it shows, I mean, obviously stupidity, but it shows an undying belief in the cause on his part. I think the party will have gone well before the autumn summit, the autumn conference season. I think there's no way the party can survive. It's so damaged. And ultimately, the breakup of the SNP would be a fitting memorial to Nicola Sturgeon and the damage she's done, the things she's done. And I would love to see her looking and watching on from the you know, through the barred windows of a cell as the SNP implodes and is destroyed and is no more. But of course, like anything like this, phoenixes always rise from the ashes. And there is talk of already forming a new party based upon the membership of the current party. But more of that later. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a credit. leave a credit, leave a comment. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and don't ever believe what that man says until he denies it. Goodbye.